we had a little bit of overtime tonight. We had a little bit of overtime in a game that I'm going to be honest, as a Bruins fan, this game shouldn't have gone to overtime. This was a very, very well played game by the Tampa Bay Lightning that very nearly got away from them. And I thought to myself, if Tampa Bay loses this one, they're done. If after such a really good game as this, they come out on the losing end, they're done. They're not going to win 4 out of 5 against Boston. And the difference between this year's Tampa Bay Lightning and the one that lost in 4 in the first round against Columbus last year is simple. This team knows how to play desperate hockey. And the acquisitions they made at the deadline are the guys that are doing most of it. So while Braden Point has been fantastic again, and Kucherov had a decent game, Coleman and Gaudreau are a huge part of an entirely different identity that the Tampa Bay Lightning now have going for them. And that identity is a winning identity. So, let's go through it. Coleman line was driving things early. They get a chance. Tampa Bay had lost 3 straight Game 2s coming into today. So again, you can't afford to lose another Game 2, especially when you lost Game 1, which they did, of course, last year against Columbus. So this is, again, Tampa Bay learning lessons and applying them. Early edge was for Tampa Bay, and you could see the desperate hockey for the Bolts. You could see it. This was a team well aware of the job that was ahead of them. And it was that level of urgency that they didn't have last year that drove Tampa Bay fans insane that they do have this year. Ritchie would then score from Bjork and 3:14 after Bogosian's stick committed suicide. I don't know what else to call it, but it was one of those plays where they had it in, Bogosian's stick goes kaboom, and the Bruins jumped on it and scored. Ritchie with the goal from Bjork. There was no challenge from Cooper. There was some debate about whether or not it was under the pad of the goaltender, but he didn't challenge it. And according to the pundits on Hockey Night in Canada, and from what I saw, I didn't think there was enough there to overturn it either. I thought it was a good goal. So, 1-0. But the shots were 4-2 in favor of Tampa at 5 minutes. So this is the frustration here. Boston's got a lead, but they're not playing better. They're just taking advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves, and Tampa's not getting that. So, Tampa Bay would then score a goal. It was Barclay Goodrow, I believe, that got that one, and it was challenged as offside. And as soon as, I've said this before, as soon as a goal is challenged for offsides, I take it off the board because it's offside. Very, very rare that it's challenged for offside, and it's not actually offside in these playoffs. So, Point had a slow zone exit, and I know people are upset saying, it shouldn't be offside. Well, next year, no, that one's still offside. Point can't be dogging it when there's a delayed offside, even though he's at the end of his shift. He's got to clear that zone, because if he does, that goal's a good goal. So, again, while there's some people upset over how that went down, Braden Point's got to exit the zone with some more sense of urgency since you want to have that offside go away. Cooper, after that, yelled at the referee, "You're nuts." And I thought that was funny because the referee doesn't make that call. Toronto does. As far as I know, that's Toronto making that call and saying, yeah, no, that's a good goal, or no, that's offside. So the referee had nothing to do with it. So maybe he thought the referee was nuts for something completely unrelated that happened at the exact same moment. We'll never know. Things get kind of scrummy at 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Some garbled words on the TV, meaning they were saying bad things. A 4-on-4 came out of it for 2 minutes. No goals on that, but Coleman with a goal from Bogosian and Gaudreau, and it was a nice goal, and it doesn't help that Krug and Carlo got crossed up and collided with each other. That goal counts. So a defensive miscue by Boston. Tampa Bay takes advantage, and they tie up the game. Marchand then had a pass to Pastrnak later on in the period that just misses high. Killorn, like Pasternak's shot, missed high over the net. Killorn takes a penalty. The Bruins go to the power play. I thought this was the best Bogosian's looked in years. Now, I'm going to say this. Tampa was playing 11 forwards, 7 defensemen. After 2 periods, Bogosian had played the least amount of minutes of all 7 defensemen. I do think it helps Bogosian to watch his minutes, shelter his minutes, and use them in plays where he can be at his best. And I thought he played very well today. So second period, Krejci had a chance that went wide during a 4-on-2, and that one looked like it hurt. Like, that one looked like that's one of those plays where you got to bury it. Evenly played start. Face-offs were pretty even as well. Lots of early whistles after a strong first by Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay had the lion's share of play in the first. Early in the second period, things were kind of evened out between the two. Marchand had a chance that was stopped. Tampa Bay then presses at the 5-minute mark. Corrali takes a penalty. Tampa Bay gets a power play. They were 0 for their last 13 going into that power play. Yeah, 0 for 14 after that one. Their power play, not a story tonight other than the fact that it doesn't get goals. And we're at that time of year where you really need your power play to be generating goals. It doesn't really cost them tonight, but it's one of those things of concern as you go further into the playoffs. Bruins got a chance around the half, couple of chances there. Halak then had an equipment issue, and Vlader almost had to go in, but he didn't. So that would have been interesting if he went in, and I would say that tomorrow, these teams play again, we will still see Halak and Vasilevsky. I can't see the backups playing. I know it's a back-to-back. I know there's going to be the speculation. I heard it during the game. You're not. If it's a 1-1 series, if it was 2-0 Boston, maybe you think about giving Vlader a start, but I don't like the sound of that. That just, let Halak be in net. He can play back-to-backs. He's a veteran. He can do it. Gord then had a stick that snapped, and I started wondering at this point, I started thinking in my mind, like, okay, so did Marchand have access to the Tampa Bay sticks before the game? Because it feels like these sticks are breaking really easy, and in suspicious moments in the game, is Marchand, or did he pay somebody? And I started thinking about this, and I thought, well, don't mention it in the review, because people are going to think you're serious. Crap. All right. Palat then was guilty of a high stick. The Bruins go to the power play, and they score on it 19 seconds in. It's Marchand from Pastrnak and Krug at 14:33. This is a game Boston's in the lead of, and they have not been the better team. Not in this game. So what does Tampa Bay do? They do what Tampa Bay didn't used to do. They answer. It's Kucherov that scored from Shattenkirk and Point at 15:29. And so not even a minute later, it's a tie game again. And there you go. Tampa Bay showing that heart. And I thought that was a great answer. Hedman then takes a penalty. The Bruins go back to the power play. They don't score on that one. So in the third period, tie game. Clifton takes a penalty in the first minute of that period. The Bolts go to the power play. Lots of pressure by Tampa's second power play. Much better than the first, but Halak made the saves, and they still don't have a goal. So this is the problem that Tampa continues to have rolling through game in, game out. Their power play is an issue. Coyle had a chance that was turned aside. Halak stopped Shattenkirk, and really the game's tied at this stage because of Yarrow Halak. So at the end of the night, the stats aren't fantastic for Halak, but he's not the reason that Boston doesn't come out on the winning side in this. Vasilevsky then denied McAvoy at 9 minutes, and then on a breakaway, 5-hole on Halak, Coleman scores his second goal of the game from Hedman. So his first goal was kind of a reenactment of the Bobby Orr Stanley Cup Finals goal against the Blues decades back. And this one was a nice breakaway goal. I'm not going to say it's Mario type, but it's Mario-esque, sure. Yeah, why not? So Coleman with 2 really nice goals. 5-hole on Halak. And this is the first lead that Tampa's had so far in this series against Boston. They haven't had a lead until that moment. Bergeron then had a chance to just miss wide, and then at 16:02, the frustration returns for Tampa. Marchand with his second goal of the game from Corrali and Pastrnak. Corrali had been out on the ice for about a minute and a half, a little over a minute and a half. And so while you're expecting Bergeron to get on the ice, Corrali with a really nice play there, passes over to Marchand. Marchand puts it in the net, and it's a tie game. And again, this is a game that Boston's been outplayed, but the third period was pretty even. And now it's a tie game with less than 4 minutes left in the period. And I thought that had to frustrate Tampa. They'd played a really, really good game, and here they are in a tie. Tampa Bay then pressed with 2 minutes left, but they're unable to score. So we go to overtime. In overtime, early push by the Bolts. Halak saved it, and then Palat would score from Gord and Maroon at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. And yes, the right team wins this game. If Boston had won this game, Tampa Bay and their fans would rightly be really frustrated right now. But this is a great series that could still end up going 7. And we'll see if that ends up happening, because sign me up. This was a great game. This was a very, very good game. And I'm fine with Tampa getting the win. Boston had won quite a few in a row, and it's nice to, every now and then you see that loss. It keeps things nice and calm and centered. And again, I didn't feel like Boston had played well enough for the victory tonight anyway. So tomorrow, game 3, they can come out, establish themselves a little bit better. The shots favored Tampa in the first 11-9, 12-7 in the second, though they were better in the first than in the second. Third period, both teams had 8 shots, and then in the overtime, Tampa Bay playing that desperate hockey Bolts fans wanted desperately last year and didn't get. They outshoot them 9-1 in the overtime in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Final shots 40-35. So, yeah, that's not right then. The app hadn't updated it then. So I'll just make that, which is good because then that means Halak had a 900 save percentage tonight. The hits were 46-43 for Boston. Power plays, Boston goes 1 for 3, Tampa goes 0 for 2. If Tampa had hit on one of those power plays, we don't need overtime. Halak saves 36 out of 40. Vasilevsky saved 22 out of 25. Both goaltenders played well enough. I thought Halak was probably the better of the 2 goaltenders, which is likely why we ended up with overtime. But Game 3 is tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding this game. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.